Welcome to the worst with Chad Austin. You know, I I knew I had to record an episode this week because it's been a week and that's what I do. But I didn't really know much of what I wanted to talk about this week because it's been all work. I do have one thing. I mean, actually, let me change that. Let me change that to say I scheduled this episode to talk about one specific thing. And then there's probably going to be a bunch of bullshit filler around that. And we're not going to get into that one thing right up top. We're going to let this simmer a little bit, let my rage build about this horrendous thing that happened, and hopefully draw out some suspense in the fact that I fucking hate everybody for a reason right now. And not everybody, but there is a specific group of people that I hate, and that's not racial or anything. These are friends of mine that I fucking hate. But yeah, let's get into some shit. One of my favorite things that I've seen this week so far is a news source, and I wouldn't necessarily say it's like a trusted news source, but it's like a news source for hip young kids. I don't even know if it's still that, but Vice. Vice. I think Vice used to be considered a hip young news source, like that was unbiased and blah blah blah. And now it's just like there's kind of like a perfect. I think there was like an Instagram video of like how a Vice reporter picks a story, and it's just a dude throwing like suction cup dildos at a wall, and like picking random topics. And I feel like that might be it, but the headline for this news story, which will be added to this, is why are people tweeting that Nancy Reagan was the throat goat? Now, that as a headline for a news story just makes me happy. And, it's funny because some people might think, wow, that's, uncalled for and that's wild and that's weird, but those people are the people that have never stepped outside their friend group and had a relationship with a conservative person. Because in my opinion, the more conservative a person is on the outside, the fucking freak nastier they are when it comes to shutting that bedroom door or that car door or whatever it may be in privacy. They are freaks above freaks. They are the highest level of nasty. And there is no surprise to me that this woman was just the queen of sucking cock. So apparently the rumors are that Nancy Reagan used to give the best blowjobs in the game in Hollywood's MGM backlot. So this is back before she was the wife of a president. This is, she is just, and if you think about it, like when Reagan was making movies, and this is probably where they met. This is probably where like he was starring in a Hollywood picture, and they're like, bring in Nancy. We need to get Ronnie's head right. And then she goes back there and, just and then boom, like Ronald Reagan just like on top of his shit. And from then on out, he's like, yo, I got to lock this bitch down. Like, she isn't sucking any more stars' dicks. Like, this is mine. And she literally, because of this throat game, because of being the throat goat, she sucked her way to the top. And apparently the man didn't make a decision without consulting her. So, she was the president's bottom bitch. Like, everything that they went through, well, like Nancy was right there with him. Like every presidential decision every time he had to fuck somebody over, every time he had to introduce crack into a poor neighborhood, whatever it may be, Nancy Reagan was there helping him make those decisions. And by helping him make those decisions, I mean she was clearing his mind. And by clearing his mind, I mean she was deep throating that cock. So shout out to Nancy Reagan, a real one. And shout out to all the conservative women out there that keep it just, you know, you don't have to be a Cardi B or Meg Thee Stallion, right? Like, you don't have to make a song all about dangly things in throats and wet ass pussies and whatever else they mention in that song, macaroni and cheese and stirring in pots and shit. You don't have to do that. You can just fuck like a champion and suck dick with the best of them in the privacy of your own home. The world doesn't need to know that. Is your man happy? Is your woman happy? Boom. You've done your job. The funny thing is I don't know if that, you know, I'm making this whole play for conservative women and their ability to fuck and their, you know, throat game, but I don't know if it works out the same for conservative men. I don't even know if like a full on like khaki wearing, white polo tucked in, red MAGA hat, American loving conservative man even eats pussy. It's possible, but I think that it's just like that really, really quick foreplay where he's just like, he's like, all right, you're good. And then, you know, he just goes into like plowing for like, you know, 5 seconds or whatever it is until he comes. And then he's just like, all right, finish yourself off. I'm going to go take a shower. And, yeah, you know, I think that when it comes to fucking, I don't think that you can be full on conservative and just be really good at it. I think that there's a level of like uptightness that either plays out to being really stiff in bed or you're either really stiff in bed and you only fuck that one person for the rest of your life, or you are you're a secret freak, but you don't even let your the loved ones into, not your loved ones and like your, you know, mom, dad, sister, brother, but your loved, like the person that you decide to spend the rest of your life with. You don't even let them know about it. You're just like off to sex clubs, getting beaten by whips, or maybe sucking dudes off because, you know, a lot of these like Republican congressmen are probably secretly gay, and that's fine. I mean, I'd prefer it if you were like openly gay, you know, it would be a lot easier for everybody, but you know, you got plots and points and all that kind of shit, and you know, being publicly gay doesn't work out for all of you too much. So I mean, that's why Tom Cruise still isn't out of the closet, right? He's an action star, and for some reason they can't be gay. It's Hollywood in 2021. No one will admit that, but when do you ever see a gay action star? I would like to see The Rock play like a full-on, like, super gay. Like, just the buff-ass Rock running around South Beach in, like, the smallest booty shorts. And just fully greased up, hitting on dudes. But then, like, when the time comes, he has to, like, pull out the guns. You know, these guns and these guns. And he has to get to work to save our country, because that's what The Rock does. Like a true American. Our next president, Dwayne Johnson. Anywho, let's see. I got a couple other things, like a couple other small things before I get into the major rant. It's probably going to be a short episode because, like I said, I have one real thing that I actually give a shit about talking about. All right. I had a couple days off, and during that time, my wife was very, very dead set on like, I need to get you something for Christmas, like, and she knows that out of anything, I'm not a very materialistic person. I don't want for much. The most money I spend on myself is doing this stupid fucking show. But other than that, like, I go to fucking hood shops and buy t-shirts, and I get cheap black jeans, but I have a thing for shoes. I like shoes. I like shoes a lot. Shoes let me, like, as a fat guy who's afraid to, like, wear colors and all that shit. Shoes let me just kind of show that part of my personality. I can wear, like, wild colors. I can wear big, ugly, whatever. Just shoes are different for me. So she knows I like shoes. She's like, I'm going to take you out. We're going to get you a pair of shoes. So ever since I was a child, I always wanted a pair of Jordans, right? And never could get one. Never could get them. Couldn't afford them. Whatever it was. Never could get Jordans. The 1s and the 4s were always the ones that were, like, caught my eye, But, nowadays you can't find, especially they make more and more colorways on the 1s, but, like, they don't make too many releases of Jordan 4s, and when they do, they're out of the store in, like, blink of an eye. Especially my size 13. They don't make a lot of them. And then when the ones they do make, I don't wait in line. I like shoes, but I don't like them enough to wait in a fucking line for them. Or fight some fucking 20-year-old swag lord over a pair of shoes. I don't care that much. But if there is a cool pair of shoes and I have the money to buy them, I want them. So we go on the hunt for shoes, and I'm looking at all these stores, and I come across a pair of Jordan 1s, and they have my size. So this is the first time in my life, and I'm 35 years old. This is the first time in my life that I'm actually going to get to try on a pair of Jordans. Living out childhood fantasies, right? Like, I'm going to put on a pair of Jordans. I'm going to buy a pair of Jordans. I'm going to own Jordans. This is going to be dope, right? Except I try them on, and I look at myself in them, and I look at them in the mirror, and I look down at my feet, and I realize I don't fucking like the way they look. I fucking hate Jordans. So that was a childhood dream that got crushed this weekend. And it's shitty because it was all based on the fact that, like, my wife was trying to do something really nice for me. And instead I just got my heart broken that, like, I just think that the shoes that I've wanted since I was a kid are ugly on me. I see them on everybody else and they look dope as shit, but I just didn't like them on me. And that was a bummer. So then I moved back to the tried and true, and I started looking for New Balances because, I'm a white guy. and I'm a dad. And fucking New Balances are king. And I find this really dope pair of New Balances. And I was like, all right, cool. I need these in a size 13. And they're like, we don't have them at this store, but you can go to this store down the street. They have them. We'll make them hold them for you. I'm like, sick. Dope, awesome, hooray. And then as I'm waiting for them to call and tell the guy to hold the shoes, the kid at the register starts telling me a story about the shoes. Now, I'm not like a sneakerhead where it's like I need to know everything about the shoe. I like what looks cool and what I think is going to look good on me. And that's it. I don't give a fuck if they're made from recycled material or this, that, and the other. Are they cool looking? Tight. It's like, it's the same thing with me and how I smoke weed. I don't care if it's indica. I don't care if it's sativa. They all do the same thing to me. I smoke it. I get anxious. And then once I come down a little bit, I get hungry. And then once I come down a little bit more, I'm sleepy. And then I go to bed. Every weed. Doesn't matter what fucking strain you tell me it is. Oh, dude, this is fucking a hybrid of Alaskan Thunderfuck and Skywalker OG. It's called I Fucked Skywalker in Alaska, and it's like the dankest shit. I don't care, dude. Like, it's going to do the same thing to me as any other weed I smoked. Any other one. Anxious, hungry, tired. Anxious, hungry, tired. Anxious, hungry, tired. So this kid starts to tell me the story about these shoes that I really liked at that time. He's like, oh, man. He's like, do you know about these? And I'm trying to be polite because I'm waiting for something. So he kind of just has me in his web at the moment, this like 22-year-old sneakerhead. And he's like, oh man, so like the guy that designed these, he's like, you know, fucking, well, like he was like a construction worker, but then he wanted to design sneakers on the side. And then he got like famous on Instagram. So New Balance brought him in, and now he's designing sneakers. And like even the box is cardboard, but it looks like wood. It looks like a wood box, but it's cardboard. And I don't know what it was about that story, but I was already in my head hating these shoes now. So I drive down the street to the new other store, and I put them on, and I look at them on me, and I'm like, I don't want these anymore because of I just keep on thinking about this stupid fucking construction worker that now is a fucking sneaker designer. And it seems like a really stupid reason to not want a pair of shoes anymore, but that's what happens in my head. Stupid things lead to decisions, lead to regret, but this time it didn't lead to regret. I actually am okay with the fact that I didn't get these shoes because I fucking hated the kid's story. Maybe it was just the way he told it. Maybe if I find a YouTube video, you know, that like New Balance produced about this guy, it'll actually be like heartwarming and be like, props to you, dude. Respect. But listening to this dumb 22-year-old kid tell me this story with about 50,000 ums and likes in the middle of, a 2-minute story at best, I wanted to slash my wrists. I was fucking done, dude. But, you know, that was my weekend. I looked for shoes, and then I shopped. Oh, dude. So I shopped for the kid, right? My 11-year-old daughter. And she sends she sends me her list. She sends me her Amazon list. And I just go on there and I just bloop, 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 bloop. I buy everything on the list, right? I'm like, fuck it. This will be easy for me. I don't have to go out to stores. She's not asking for anything like too crazy expensive, and I can get her a lot of stuff. She'll have a lot of stuff to unwrap on Christmas. This is tight. So all the things like piece by piece start coming in from Amazon, you know, because like they're all from different vendors, so they never come in the same box. You're just getting like one package this day, 6 packages this day, bam, 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 and it's all stacking up. So I'm opening these packages and we're wrapping presents, and one of the things that she asked for was a graphic novel, and I can't remember what it's called right now, but like it looks like a cute like mermaid girl on the cover, and you know the animation's, you know, adorable, and you know, and it's a graphic novel, so you know it's all just done in speech bubbles, whatnot. And I flip it over and I'm reading the back of the book, and then I'm questioning of why my daughter wanted this book, because the premise of the book is a mermaid human hybrid, so she like has the ability to switch it out whenever she wants to go on land, who hates her parents. Come on. My daughter's a preteen right now, so she fucking hates everybody. A mermaid human hybrid who hates her parents has found true love in her best friend, and it's like Fifi. It's a girl, and she's planning on having her first kiss with another girl. And I was like, I wonder how closely this relates to my daughter. Now, there could be like that old trope of like, you know, there's a very played out thing of all fathers want their daughters to be lesbians because they don't have to deal with like horny little boys when they're teenagers, right? But honestly, like, it really doesn't matter, right? Because there's also horny little girls. And like, I mean, it doesn't matter who is trying to finger my daughter. It's an intruder in the house. Right? It just doesn't make any sense of why that was ever a thing, because I mean, for the most part, I mean, I'm speaking from my experiences, but for the most part, like especially when you're this age, like 11, 12, 13, you're really not thinking too much about fucking yet. But, there might be some like second, third base action. So either way, you have an intruder at your midst. And at first I was like, maybe not, because she always tells me about this boy that she hangs out with. I'm not going to say his name, but he has a very like white boy surfer name. So when she's telling me about him, oh, blah, 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 and we hang out all the time, and we do this, and we do that, and we eat lunch together, and we play Minecraft together, and then they talk on the phone for like hours while they're playing Minecraft. And in my head, I'm like, who the fuck is this kid? I'm going to stab him in his dick. And then the other day, I'm picking her up from school, and I see the kid, and I just go, aw. He is the chubbiest little Mexican kid who has no chance in hell with my kid. She's just nice and has a friend that plays Minecraft with her. And I mean, coming from another fat kid, he probably has a crush on her, because when I was a young fat kid, any girl that was nice to me, I had a crush on immediately. It's like, oh, you know my first name? You want to study this? I mean, not even like outside of school, even like we're going to pair up into a group in class and you want to be my partner? We must be in love. I'm going to go home and steal my mom's jewelry and give it to you. I actually used to do that. I did that in kindergarten. I stole my mom's engagement ring and gave it to a girl. Her name was Kathleen. I got in so much trouble for that. I stole my mom. What a piece of shit, right? I stole my mom's jewelry and gave it to a fucking 5-year-old, 6-year-old. What I don't even know. I can't even remember what I was expecting to happen from that. Like, what's gonna come of this, Chad? You're 5, and you just dropped a stolen, minimum, $1,000 on another 5-year-old. What, do you think you guys were gonna run away together? But I digress. Anyways, chubby kid that loves to play Minecraft. You're okay in my book. I'm no longer threatened by your existence in my child's life. Okay. I'm going to now get into the main reason why I wanted to do this fucking episode. For a couple months now, people had been telling me about this movie, right? And I heard multiple people be like, you have to go see this movie. It's fantastic. You have to watch, you have to download, you have to rent, you have to do this. It is so good. It is so good. Watch it. It's so good. So finally, it comes out on fucking Hulu or Amazon or whatever, one of those two. And I tell my wife, I'm like, babe, I have heard nothing but fantastic things about this movie. We have to watch it tonight. We have to drop whatever we're doing, and we have to watch this movie because all my friends say it's great. All of them. Everyone, not, all of them that have seen the movie, they all say it's great. So about a week and a half ago, we sit down and we watch the movie Pig with Nicolas Cage, where people have been like, this is his next Oscar winner. This is that. That movie, dude, was so fucking bad. I am now livid that I listen to any of you. You all have the worst taste in movies. And I hope the brakes go out on your car. I hope that you swerve through traffic, careening this way and that, and you don't hit any cars because I don't want anyone else hurt. And the only way you can stop is either going into the ocean and drowning or running into a wall. and dying on impact. Because if you told me to watch this movie, you're a piece of shit. You are a gigantic pile of dog shit. Dude, if you don't know what this movie is, it's Nicolas Cage, and it starts off, it's him in the woods. And I think maybe another reason why I don't like this movie is because it's based out of Portland, and everything from Portland fucking sucks. Okay. He is in the woods outside. He's in the woods outside of somewhere in Oregon, right? Outside the city. He lives out. He lives off the land, right? And he has this truffle pig. And the truffle pig, best part of the movie. It's fucking adorable, but it's only in the movie for fucking 10 minutes tops. It's cute as shit. It's like a long-haired pig, dude, and finds mushrooms. It's adorable. So, starts off with him and the pig, and they're walking through the woods, and they find some truffles, and he just goes back to this little shit cabin that he has, and it starts to, like, foreshadow what's gonna come. Like, he, like, with just one tiny little cast iron skillet and an open flame, makes, like, this perfectly beautiful mushroom tart out of the truffles. And then he sits down and, like, cuts himself a slice and cuts the pig a slice, and they sit down there eating together. And you're like, all right. Cool. And then goes to bed. The pig has its own bed. It's fucking cute as shit. Pig goes to sleep. Nicolas Cage goes to sleep. Middle of the night, fucking tweakers break into the cabin. And they beat the shit out of Nicolas Cage and steal his pig. So in my head, because I hadn't even watched a trailer, and because, like, that's honestly, that's how I live my life nowadays. I don't like to watch trailers. I like to just see the movie. I like to be surprised, and maybe I should stop that. But I start thinking in my head, oh, is this going to be some John Wick type shit? Is Nicolas Cage just going to go into the city and start fucking people up for answers? Where's my pig? You know, just beating the fucking shit out of people. Give me my pig back. You know, like, or you know, like Mel Gibson and fucking Ransom. Give me back my son. You know, like that kind of shit. Like super intense. Like, we're going to have some crazy action, maybe some chase scenes and some wild ass shit. Well, Nicolas Cage does get the shit beat out of him. So he calls up this kid, and I'm going to tell you guys the whole fucking movie right now. You know, like, condensed version, but I'm going to tell you the movie right now so you never have to watch it. Unless you, or if you do watch it, at least you're going in with knowing that it's not good. So he calls up this kid, the kid that he slings his truffles to, you know, because the truffle business is popping, man. Like, you're a purveyor for fancy restaurants, and you're the guy, you're the plug with the truffles and all the other exotic mushrooms. You can make bank. I watched a Vice documentary about this. Kids pulling in like 15 grand a day off of exotic mushrooms. I'm just like, yo, like, the fuck. And so he calls up this kid. This kid's like an inexperienced mushroom slinger. He has like maybe like 5 or 6 accounts. And he's like, yo, my pig's gone. And the kid's like, all right, I'll be right there and shit. And I don't think he actually calls him. I don't think he even has a phone, to be honest. I'm mixing that up. But the kid shows up anyways. I think he has like a scheduled meet date, and the kid shows up and he's like, my pig's gone. So he gets in the kid's car, and then they drive into town, and he's looking for answers, right? And you start to find out that, like, Nicolas Cage is from these streets, you know, and it's not necessarily like gangster shit. It's Nicolas Cage was a famous Portland chef like 20 years ago, and then just went off the grid, like gone. And so he starts like going in and like meeting his old contacts, you know, like and it's funny too, because he's like going in like these back alleys and shit, like he's, you know, this like seedy underworld boss, when he was a fucking chef, dude. He was a chef. He doesn't need to like pay his respects to some guy. He brings a guy like food from a food truck to pay his respects to get information. No, dude, you don't have to do that in the real world when you're not a seedy drug lord or working for one. You are a chef, and now you hunt fucking truffles. Nothing you do or did was illegal. So he goes and meets this guy. And this guy's like, oh, man, you're dead to me, blah, blah, blah. And so he walks away, and then he's like, all right, we're going to meet up with this guy again. Going to be a surprise. I'm going to take you to this spot. And this is where the movie completely loses me. Like, fucking completely loses me, dude. So he goes into, like, the basement of a restaurant. And then behind like an old decrepit bookshelf, or I don't remember if it was a bookshelf or like an old fridge or something like that. There was something against the wall, okay? And he moves it, and there's a hole in the wall that leads down to like a basement like tunnel. And then they go down into the tunnel, which leads them into like this open warehouse area where, I kid you not, dude, there is an underground fight club for Portland restaurant workers. What the fuck, dude? God damn it. So he goes in to this underground fucking fight club or whatever the fuck it is. And there's like, and you could tell what it is because it's like a bunch of dudes like where, like they just got off their shift, their ties loosened, their sleeves are rolled up, like they just got off work at the fucking Olive Garden or something. And he walks in, and mind you, like he looks like a fucking bum. He's been living in the woods for 10 years, long hair, long beard. Half these people don't really connect that he is who he is. And he tells the kid, he's like, watch this. And he goes and he walks up and he writes his name on this board that's on the wall. And I can't remember what his name was, but everyone stops. They're like, dude, that's him? That's that chef? So apparently this fight club isn't even really a fucking fight club, because it's more so the more well-known you are as a chef, they kind of take it as like you're a piece of shit or a dickhead, which kind of tracks because most like big chefs are dickheads. But so that when he puts his name on the board, people start offering money. And it's weird because it's not real money. They're holding like Monopoly money. And this part of the movie makes no fucking sense to me. So they're like bidding higher and higher until one guy like bids the highest. And then he places all the money on the ground and then walks up to Nicolas Cage and he just starts beating the shit out of him. And Nicolas Cage like has his arms behind his back, just taking it like that's what he's supposed to do. Like, this is an underground fight club, but just for like servers and like abused wait staff of any kind, hosts, whatnot, just get to go and beat the shit out of their superiors for whatever highest stakes they want to. And that makes absolutely no sense because Nicolas Cage doesn't even walk away with the money. It's almost like just like a nod of respect type thing, and it's fucking insane. Like, why did you even go down there to get the shit kicked out of you? You didn't gain any information from this. You didn't gain any money from this. You're just all fucked up now. So now you look even worse like a bum because not only are you dirty and hairy and all matted up, but now you're bleeding from everywhere. I mean, it's a shit show, dude. So, I mean, it just becomes this movie is straight up just jerking off Portland chefs. And it's insane to me. It is insane to me that it's so fucking douchey. It's so douchey. And okay, so let's get through this a little bit faster. So gets the shit beat out of him. He goes and sees another chef, and he sits down in his restaurant, and he orders some food, and he's like touching it, and he's like kind of unimpressed. And the guy, he calls the chef out, and he's like, oh, are you blah blah blah? And he's like, yeah, that's me. He's like, you were one of my line cooks for 2 days, and then I fired you because you're a little bitch. And why are you cooking this food? Because you said you always wanted to own a pub. Man up, you fucking pussy. And the guy is like, oh, this is what the people want, and I'm doing well. And he's like, fuck you, do what you like, you fucking bitch. And then he leaves that restaurant, and then nothing came of that. It didn't make any sense. And then it was like basically just so that speech could be in the movie, you know, don't do what the people want, do what you like. And so that happens. And then, you know, after all that shit, he finds out who stole his pig, and it was the kid that has been driving him around. It was his father, because his father happens to be the biggest wild mushroom purveyor in fucking Oregon. And, you know, so he's the kingpin, and his kid's like a little fucking lackey that tried to go out on his own, and his dad's hoping that he fails. And so he goes and he meets with the dad, and he's like, yo, give me back my pig, motherfucker. And he's like, nah, son, it's not how we do this. And he was like, all right, bet, watch me, I got you. So he leaves. And basically the guy's like, he's like, you come back here asking for the pig again, I'll have you killed. Like, you know, something along those lines. Like real mobster shit over some pigs and truffles. And so he leaves, and he's like, I got one shot. And he sends the kid out with like a shopping list. He's like, go get these items. And I'm like, all right, cool. At least this guy's going to die at the end of the movie, right? Like, you stole the pig, he's going to fucking kill you and get his pig back. Dope. No, you know what happens? They break into the guy's house while he's in his office working, and he cooks him a meal. That's the fucking climax, dude. The guy that stole his pig, he cooks him a meal and has him sit down with him. And then the guy tastes the meal, and he starts crying like a little fucking bitch. And I guess it's because it was the meal that this guy had with his wife, and now his wife's dying, and it brought back all these memories. And then Nicolas Cage is like, I remember every dish I ever cooked for anybody that ever sat in my restaurant. And it's like, no, you fucking don't. And if you were that famous of a chef, you have cooked so many fucking meals. So many. You don't remember everybody. And I mean, down to the wine they drank, dude. Down to the wine. He remembered it all. Because he's fucking super chef. Portland super chef. So, he cooks the guy the meal. The guy starts crying like a little bitch. And then he runs off into his office and he pours himself a drink. Nicolas Cage follows him into the office. And the guy basically goes, I'm sorry, but your pig's dead. The tweakers were too rough with it, and it died in transit. Nicolas Cage falls to the ground, starts scream crying for a good 3 minutes. And then basically the movie ends. He gets driven back into the woods, and he goes to bed. And the movie ends, dude. I'm giving you a straight up synopsis of this movie. If that sounds good to you, go fuck yourself and don't watch this show anymore. Don't be my friend, because it was so bad, dude. So bad. So yeah, fuck all of you that like this movie, because it for some reason has a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. How am I in the 3%? How is me not liking it the crazy? Anyway. I just spent a solid fucking 15, 20 minutes talking about this stupid fucking movie. I hate it so much. I thought this was going to be a short episode, but hey, man, I've killed 40 minutes already. We're on roll, baby. You know what? What else do I got? I don't think I got anything else. Jussie Smollett went to fucking jail, or he's proven guilty for being a fraud, and no one ever yelled out MAGA country and beat him up and strangled him with a Subway sandwich. That never happened. There's a guy. No, I'm not even going to get into that. You know what? Actually, I got one more thing. Because as a straight man who's an avid fan of RuPaul's Drag Race, I've seen every fucking episode. I've seen every season. I've seen the UKs and the Canadas. This is one of my favorite pastimes to do with my wife. It's like, especially during the day, because there's so many of them. We just watch RuPaul's Drag Race, and it's dope. These people are great at what they do, and they're funny, and they're beyond talented at what, like these designing these costumes and putting on this makeup. Like, nothing but respect, right? So they last thing I promise, they release the cast list because they have a new season coming out in January, right? Hold on. Coffee, dude. New cast list for the season coming out sometime in I think it's the beginning of January. And there is a straight man. There's a straight man in the cast. He goes by Matty Morphosis. And the gay community, not all of them, not all of them, but there was a big group of gay people that were pissed because there is a straight man competing on Drag Race. And, I mean, I thought the whole thing was, and correct me if I'm wrong, somebody please, contact me, correct me if I'm wrong. I thought the whole thing was, inclusion, right? I thought the whole, identity of, every gender and every this and being woke and all that stuff was all about inclusion. Loving each other for who we are. I mean, all of that. It's all intertwined in the show. It's intertwined in the culture. If you look at anything on TikTok and all this shit, it's always about equality and this and that and loving each other and not hating anybody and not hurting anybody's feelings and this that and everything is so fucking pussified to come together. But then one straight dude decides that he likes to dress up as a girl and put on crazy ass makeup and make really dope dresses and whatnot. And then you all throw a fucking fit over it. I don't understand. Why? Why can't we be a part of it? What if I wanted to throw on some makeup, tuck my dick back, and put on some heels? Is that so wrong? What if that was my weekend, I'll just go over to beaches, tuck my dick back, throw on some heels, put on a wig, and I'll lip sync fucking Whitney Houston. It's not a bad thing. In fact, it shows, as a straight man, I would say that it shows my support for your community. I'm not trying to take anything from you. Everybody is who they are, and I'm happy to be around you, which is, don't get me wrong, this guy, Matty Morphosis, could be a dick, right? But from first glance of knowing what they do and why they do it and all this stuff, it can't be that bad, right? He wants to be a part of your group, and you're the ones closing him out. I feel like there's bigger fish to fry than getting pissed off about a straight drag queen. I think that's it. I think that's all I got. There is a little. No, I'm not even gonna get into that today. Thank you. I'm not even. It's not even the worst. Today is Pig. Today was brought to you by Pig, the fucking worst movie I've seen all year. And it might not even been that bad if it wasn't hyped up to death by all of you sad fucks. So, go watch Pig and tell me what you think. Tell me that I'm wrong. I fucking dare you. This has been The Worst with Chad Austin. Thank you for watching. Bye.